It's a new industrial revolution.
This is a historic moment. Internet, mobile, and now AI. Nvidia's Jensen Huang said the next industrial revolution has begun. Who will be the winners?
Well, come talk to our 70 customers. They think they're winning.
We're in a new industrial revolution. And by now, you understand phase one, the infrastructure phase, like Nvidia. And next is phase two of AI, big data and ontology. But you want to know, what does that mean exactly? By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what I mean. Listen to Palantir CEO Alex Karp.
The way I would explain it to my most important investors, which are individual investors.
Notice how he said individual investors. He's talking about you and me, retail investors. Palantir understands and appreciates the importance of us, individual investors.
Two parts of the market that are creating value people will pay for, chips and ontology. And you understand the chip side now, and now you're going to understand ontology. And what does that mean for your business? It means you can actually use this raw resource and process it into something that actually works.
So he's talking about taking a company's data and making use of that data. In phase one of AI, it's about the infrastructure, building out the hardware and the data centers. So stocks like Nvidia, SMCI, Broadcom, public cloud services providers like Microsoft, Amazon, Google. You also have others like AMD and more. In phase two, we're focused on big data, taking that data and making use of the data. So generative AI is going to need quality data because garbage in, garbage out. So companies like Palantir, MongoDB, Snowflake, and Elastic will benefit in the next phase. Now, this phase is going to take time because, for example, AIP is only 1 year old. It's a brand new product.
What is AIP? How does it work? And how are businesses leveraging it right now?
I think what everybody watching this is familiar with is you have a massive hype cycle around large language models. And then when you try to use them in your enterprise, you find out that it's more like self-flagellation. And it's expensive with no output. And what we learned in the context of warfighting primarily, but also across the 20 years of building software infrastructure, were how do you manage an emergent natural resource called large language models in a way where you actually get value, meaning you can transform your enterprise, you can change the margins, you can turn non-technical people into technical people. On the battlefield, you can do things that would have otherwise cost billions of dollars for millions of dollars, meaning being very precise in how you allocate troops, being precise in how you target people. There's a fundamental fallacy around large language models. People could conflate actual data of an enterprise, which is structured and can be taken apart and understood, with a large language model, which is much more like an emergent property, something that is can be modeled, used, but you need precision. And all the value in the market is going to go to chips and what we call ontology. And we have this ontology, and the ontology will allow you to take a large language model and use it, refine it, and you then impose it on your enterprise, in the logic of your enterprise, in the security model of your enterprise.
Now, we've talked a lot about how some companies are going to benefit from AI and others just simply aren't. And we've discussed how enterprise is going to be the key because that's where the money's going to be at. That's where it can be scaled. When you can sell licenses and software to thousands of employees at a single time. Of course, B2C is what got us here with ChatGPT. It's fun, it's interesting, it's something we can all understand. But to make use of generative AI in a scalable fashion and to monetize off that, of course, the infrastructure makes sense. This next phase is going to be the data. Taking the data from all the different siloed locations of a business, extracting that data in a meaningful way so that artificial intelligence can make real impacts with businesses.
And what does that mean for the 70 people are here presenting, talking about why they're using it, how they're using it. You got to remember, we started selling this product just over a year ago. We started with the claim that we knew a lot about the precursors of large language models, and the general approach of just buying models is going to be essentially self-pleasuring for an enterprise at the cost of the enterprise. And no one believed us. And now you see 70 people saying, hey, we're using this for construction. We're using it for hospitals. The people who are not speaking, but we're using it on the battlefield. We're using it to compress margins. We're using it to build enterprises that we're only able to build in Asia, in America. We're making engineers better engineers. We're making people who are not engineers into engineers using our ontology and a large language model. And this works very, very quickly, and it is substantially changing the health and vitality of every business here.
And for
as
that-
opposed to the alternative, which is that you buy some large language model, you party with it basically, and the next day you have a hangover. And again, for people just looking at this, what does it mean for Palantir? It means we are sitting on the only thing that actually creates quantifiable transformational value in an enterprise. Yes, it is not understood well because everybody understands the problem incorrectly. Yes, it is going to transform America, and our clients are leading the way. And by the way, it's like to actually show things that are not understood, you have to actually show them. The whole purpose of this conference is, I can tell you how an ontology works. It's actually quite simple. You have the logic of the business, including the security logic of the business, and you have something that approximates new knowledge in a new form called a large language model. And it allows you to take the value of the new form, the raw resource of a large language model, largely powered by chips, and put it into a precise organization in the logic of the business. I can tell you that, or I can show you 70 businesses saying, my business is stronger, healthier, and much better than any other business.
So what are some examples of how businesses could use AIP?
You're going to see people in construction using it to build buildings quicker, cheaper, more accurately. You're going to see people in the hospital industry saying, how could I possibly ever distribute my patients ethically, fairly, and commercially relevantly? How could I distribute resources across, how can I manage my company as not abstract units, but as a portfolio? These things are happening within days.
What I'm interested in, Alex, is because you can talk, a lot of CEOs will say, and they'll say on Yahoo Finance, they're interested in AI, but actually they're not willing to pull the trigger yet because they have these questions about privacy, security, vendors. But you're saying we're crushing it, we're closing the IP
What I would
business.
tell any of them is,
How are you doing it?
well, there's a technical answer, which I gave you the precursor of. But again, do you want to know how we're doing it, or do you want to enjoy it being done?
Both, really.
Great. Well, first you want to see it works.
Yeah.
Like the central issue, I think, we have hundreds and hundreds of CEOs. And by the way, the thing about the 70 people here presenting is, they're presenting to other people. I'm not paying them to present. The reason they're presenting is they're like, wow, I didn't really believe this could work, and now it's working really well. The most important thing, by the way, for a normal user, someone who's going to pay, is, does it work? Then the second question is, how does it work? Does it scale? What is the commercial model? You really have to establish it works. I would stand by the thing that in this case is, people think of large language models as the value in of itself. What they're going to find is the large language model is much more like a chemistry experiment, the outgrowth of which is something that is useful when refined. And the refinement of that for your enterprise happens in what we call our ontology, which is where we impose the logic of your business on the large language model in the security and intellectual logic of your business. And this is transformative. And what it means for investors and others is, there is value in this market. People, you can identify where the value is very easily. Are people paying for it? Will they pay for it? And there's a Pareto optimality to a lot of this stuff. And that Pareto optimality happens when people say, oh, I am actually getting value. And that's why people are here. A lot of this goes back to basic ideas of how you build things. Why you got to talk to people who are getting value and ask them, how are you getting value? Why are you getting value? Are you paying more or less for that value than you think you should? And that's exactly what you're going to see today. You're going to see people saying, I'm getting a lot of value. It went much quicker than I thought. I'm outstripping what I thought I could do. I'm much better than the people. It happened efficiently, and I don't think they'll say this, but I'm paying less than I think I should, and that's why I'm very happy about it.
All right, next I want to show you a demo, and this is a hyperactive demo, and it shows you how AIP works in real time. And then immediately after this demo, you're going to hear again from Alex Karp. This is the keynote presentation from the most recent AIPCon.
Please welcome CEO and co-founder of Palantir, Dr. Alex Karp.
The terrible music is my fault. I requested no dental music. I don't know if people here were the last time, and I said no dental music, and now we went to like, I don't know, dungeon, something bad happens to you. It's like, yeah, welcome to the new world. Obviously, we are delighted to have you here. We launched AIP just over a year ago. Our central thesis around what would make AI valuable was really taken from a lot of our insights on the battlefield and some insights commercially, but basically, what are the core challenges to managing algorithmic actions where lives are at stake? And then the core insight that differentiated us was actually somewhat philosophical, which was, in philosophy, you have different kinds of philosophy, but one major trend is like interpretive, which is kind of obvious. But things that are naturally interpretive can never be turned into things that are non-interpretive. And you have a whole school and a whole divide in philosophy, going from philosophers people would know, kind of Aristotle, Kant, good and bad. I would say that, we all have our opinions. And then you have philosophers people don't know as well, which you could broadly define as, non-interpretive. They're structures that exist independent of any perception. And there's actually a huge battle going on in the world between those that believe in interpretive and those that don't. And by and large, as a generalization, the non-interpretive people are, in my view, on the wrong side of life. There tend to be the people who somehow believe America should apologize for being a great nation. The West should apologize for being anti-discriminatory, pro-fairness, pro-capital accumulation, and whatever else is on the long list of complete, in my view, BS. By the way, you don't have to agree with all my opinions to be a Palantir customer, and I welcome everyone here. You don't even have to agree with any of them, but you do have to be aware I have them, and we have them. And by the way, the attention to detail at this company is actually an outgrowth of our beliefs. So even if you don't agree with them, you are profiting from them, because the reason why Foundry, Gaia, Meta Constellation, our targeting work, AIP, and most important to you, ontology, actually exist and actually work was never for capital accumulation. It was to make sure that the people using our products have a structural advantage over the people that don't use our products. Primarily first on the battlefield, but then in commercial. We are fully aligned with our partners. That alignment of we want you to win is actually what gets this very complicated, very difficult concatenation of some of the most talented and difficult people in the world to build products and then deploy them and then listen to your customer response. But on the march to what is an ontology, why has the whole world misunderstood where LLMs are valuable and where they're not valuable? And basically, why is everyone trying to sell you something that is like kind of the equivalent of talking to a reasonably smart person who entered high school, which is interesting, but is not going to allow you to change your business? And why have they not understood that you should build something that would allow you to work with this interpretive, generative thing called a large language model, but in a way where you can actually impose the knowledge from it, the logic of your business, the understanding of your business inside the architecture of a modern enterprise? Every modern enterprise in the world has an architecture, a security architecture, a way in which you see the world, insights that allow you to manage your business, insights that you've acquired that are crucial to the way you build and win and conduct things, insights that your engineers have, insights that people in your business need to maintain even when people leave, insights that you need to get people to understand, so non-engineers understanding engineering processes. Why are there so few products? It's like you have the chips, they create the LLM, and then de facto you need something like an ontology. And why did we build it? Because we had a realistic understanding of the intersection between insights, a raw resource that needed to be used as a raw resource, large language models, and the complicated architecture of your business, both from a security and from an insights, the way in which you join the data, the way in which the data is actually siloed, the way in which you control who sees what, who does what, under what circumstances, that is the precursor for any enterprise, any society working. And at the end of the day, it's that product that has powered us from no clients to 70 people here presenting and hundreds of people interested, and is going to power both this company and, quite frankly, those that adopt, especially in America, into a superior position. Because in the end, you have products, your business, chips, and ontology. And that is how you get these things to work. And so I like of course, you can have these ideas in theory, and we had them in various portions as the tech didn't really exist. When we built PG, we were trying to deal with some of these issues, and the tech wasn't there, and the tech wasn't there until recently. But it is incredibly gratifying, unbelievably gratifying to then see these things in action on the battlefield where these things have actually saved and on occasion taken lives. In your enterprises where we see people who are getting extraordinary value, and then the fact that people come here and speak in public about it is just incredibly motivating to me because, again, it shows you have this idea. The idea is uniquely suited to making the best people in the world, companies in this country especially, but all over the world, the West, our military and intelligence service better and better and better, and give you a distinct advantage. And then, lo and behold, despite the fact no one believed, except for our retail investors and me, it actually works. And it works in a context where I think if you talk to other people about what they're doing with these things, you'll find that it's a lot of self-pleasuring and no fun. You know what it's like to be a Palantirian in high school. So in any case, with that, I'm super happy to have you here. I feel very honored, and I hope to see everyone again soon, and thank you very much for coming.
And now at this point, you have a much better idea of what Karp means when he says ontology. But let's look at a real customer example. This is from AARP.
When I agreed to do this, I did not know I was going to go after Dr. Karp. I wish I was last, not second. I'm really honored to be with you today and looking to share with you what we are doing at AIP using the Palantir platform. So the challenges that we have is that we're running, just like most of you, multi-channel, omni-channel, whichever channel kind of communication paradigm you want to use in terms of reaching our customers, reaching our members. So we've got a lot of data. We have a lot of information about our members. We have a lot of members. We have over 3+ billion touch points on a digital ecosystem to manage. And how do we do that? It's really hard to make these decisions in real time using the current platforms or the platforms we used to have. How do we understand what context you have? Where are you in the life cycle of your relationship with AARP? And hence, leveraging the Palantir platform has been really terrific for us. So we've ingested a lot of data from across our enterprise, whether it's marketing data, whether it's data about our value. So we've taken our value and we've attached metadata to it so that we can allow models and AI to actually generate value irrespective of channel, and we can manifest it at the channel on a regular basis. It's one thing to have data, it's one thing to have insight, but can you act on those insights at that touch point in the moment that the customer is actually engaging with you? And we've got to make those decisions in, I guess, milliseconds. We used to have 6 weeks to make those decisions when we talk about how we did that 10 years ago. Now we've got to make those decisions in milliseconds. So Foundry and AIP have been terrific for us. We actually launched the first prototype within 45 days. And that was just amazing from my perspective. So what is it that we're looking to do? So we're looking to move from a highly static, we run a model, we score our database, we execute, we wait 6 months to see what happens, and then we collate a lot of information, we argue amongst ourselves, to moving towards a much more dynamic, empowered workforce that can see the risks, they can see the challenges, better understand what our consumers are interested in, and deliver that right slice of AARP to our membership base and our audience. And also better understand the gaps that we have in our value proposition and try to make those decisions in real time. So better optimize and automate the work that we do and how we do it, because as a not-for-profit organization, every dollar counts, and how we spend our dollars on behalf of our members and our audience is really critical. So automation and optimization of how we execute and then deliver that right value to the customer in the right moments.
And there's one more really quick example I want to show you. This has got some great screenshots of the actual software in use. This is from Fujitsu.
So here's the dashboard for stock risk mitigation. Then top screen displays where alerts are occurring across plants from the viewpoint of global business and what kind of alert they are and their time series. Then today, let's focus on one of the product risk item. On the scan screen, you can see inventory trend with several categories and get the specific date of shortage. So now you realize you need to take action, for example, to reallocate inventory from other factories. Then this application gives you a great support to simulate inventory reallocation by adjusting those kind of conditions on the dashboard. And they are really customizable. It can be adaptable to your own business.
Now, I have hours of customer presentations like this, but I know you don't want to watch all of them. I listened to all these, and really what I gathered is that AIP is making an impact for Palantir's customers. And there are many different use cases. It's not just one or two things. We're talking about all different types of industries here. For the sake of time, what I'd like to do next is look at Palantir from a valuation perspective, also look at a chart, and I'll tell you if I think the stock is a buy or not right now at these levels. Now, it took many hours to put this video together. If content like this is helpful to you, please return the favor and make sure to drop a like and drop a comment. And if you're new here and you want to be a better investor and you want information like this to help you as an individual investor, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that bell for notifications. All right, so phase one of AI is that infrastructure phase. It's really dealing with the servers, the chips, building the LLMs. Now, how do you make use of the LLMs? It's with Palantir. Looking at Seeking Alpha here, you can see profitability metrics very strong. This is a software as a service company, so it has recurring revenue. Gross profit margin, TTM, 81.16%. It's making about $81,000 net income per employee, and overall the numbers are strong, A-. Growth is pretty solid. You can see the forward revenue growth is about 20%. And valuation, now this is a SaaS company, so I'm going to look at EV/NTM revenue. I'm going to look at free cash flow, rule of 40. But first, let's look at the PE ratio. The PE gap, 149.81. So that is expensive, especially if you're looking at a PE ratio and not the EV/NTM revenue. Forward price of sales, 19. So this is a very expensive stock. Looking at some of those specific SaaS metrics, software as a service recurring revenue, this is the second most expensive stock. The EV/NTM revenue is 18.5x. CrowdStrike is the most expensive, around a 21x. This is a fired up wealth favorite, and this thing is ripping to $400 after going to the S&P 500. Free cash flow for Palantir, 27%, which is a good number. Rule of 40, you want 40 or more. 48%. Now, with that said, CrowdStrike is in the 60 percentile. And net dollar retention, 111% for Palantir. So not necessarily a cheap stock by any means. This is a stock that we've been recommending on this channel since before it went public, way back in 2020. And we've been recommending Palantir since $9 a share. You can see it's up about 3.5% today, just under $24 a share. Market cap, $53.28 billion. 52-week low, $13.56. 52-week high, $27.50. Now, we just broke past this $23. We had a consolidation period. We had a recent video and we said that we liked it closer to that $20 or less, but it was still expensive at that level. I told you that I thought it would consolidate, maybe break $20 and eventually go higher to $25, maybe even $30 a share. Looking at here, you got about $25 first. Then you got the R2. It's going to be around $25.50. The R3 is $27.37. You could even see $30 on the upside, but remember, we're going to have CPI data in the morning and Powell's going to speak in the afternoon, and that's really going to decide what happens next with the market. You could easily have a sell-off. I prefer the stock much lower. Really, I prefer the stock $15 or less, but at a minimum $20 or less. But with that said, I do think that this stock is going to go higher. Retail investors are behind it, and you could see $30 in 2024. If this video is helpful, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Click that bell for notifications. Drop a like, drop a comment. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.